Welcome back. We begin this hour in Provo, Utah. The man accused of killing Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk is due in court any moment now for a week-long preliminary hearing. That man is 23-year-old Tyler Robinson, and the prosecutors will be laying out their evidence this week and trying to convince the judge that the case should move on to trial. Well, let's bring in now Mark Astor, a criminal defense attorney, and Reagan Charleston Thomas is a civil trial attorney. Mark, let me begin with you. The prosecutors say that they have to establish probable cause at this preliminary hearing before the case moves on to trial. What do they try to push out there, and is it a high bar, or is this something that's just kind of you go through it for show, but we know it's moving to trial?
Well, it's a very minimal standard. I mean, the judge is not going to decide guilt or innocence. The court's going to say, okay, a reasonable person would believe that Mr. Robinson committed these crimes, and the case needs to move forward. So the state is going to roll out probably the lead detective, I think it was Brian Davis, any other officers who were on scene, certainly the surveillance video, any DNA evidence, Mr. Twiggs, who apparently received social media comments from Mr. Robinson. They're going to introduce his statement. So they're going to roll out their case and say, Judge, there's more than enough evidence here to believe, a reasonable person would believe, that Mr. Robinson committed the crimes, and the case needs to move forward.
Yeah, well, speaking of the evidence, it's expected to include a videotaped statement by Robinson's transgender romantic partner. So, Reagan, how do you see this playing in?
So prosecutors are presenting a video statement from Mr. Twiggs. And as Mark just shared, the bar is significantly lower here. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt like you would see at trial. Here, we're just seeing the state show that it has enough reliable evidence that a reasonable person could believe that Robinson committed the crimes charged. We're going to see the physical evidence, the DNA evidence, all of the ballistic evidence that's going to ultimately be presented. And then, of course, this statement from Mr. Twiggs and any of the communications that Mr. Robinson had with Mr. Twiggs regarding the crime.
Mark, during Joe's report, I thought he said that this was unusual, or it didn't happen every time, where you had this pre-trial appearance where it was open court and the prosecution had to put out exactly what they have and why they claim that it proves their case. Is that correct?
Well, the defense, if they wanted to, could waive the preliminary hearing, but why would they? I mean, in the state of Utah, they don't have an automatic right to take depositions. So they don't want to be going to trial not knowing what any of these witnesses are gonna say. And for the defense, they don't have to prove anything, but they are going to be looking for the holes in the case. And so the way to do that, to find those holes, is to go through this process. And now, in addition to that, they get sworn testimony from these witnesses. So if they testify differently at the trial, then there's an opportunity to attack their credibility through the impeachment process. So this is really important for the defense. And let's not forget, if Mr. Robinson is convicted, somebody at some point is probably going to say the defense attorneys didn't do their job. So this is important because it's about providing Mr. Robinson with effective assistance of counsel. So that's also something that we need to consider as this case moves forward through the judicial process.
Well, cameras will be allowed to broadcast much of the hearing. This is a major blow, actually, to the defense. So, Reagan, how do you expect this to play out, and what do you expect to see?
So Charlie's parents have largely stayed out of the media and out of the public eye, and we believe that they will be present in the courtroom today. Erica Kirk is believed to be in attendance today at this preliminary hearing. As you remarked, yes, this is going to be covered by the media. There will be cameras. This is something that the defense really tried to prevent. Those were the motions we saw filed in the hearing that took place earlier in June. But the judge in this case has ultimately decided that this should be an open proceeding. So we're going to see this heavily covered by the media. And this certainly does show how important it is to pay attention to every step in this process. And just like Mark was just saying, this is as strategic. It gives a strategic advantage to the defense to see what kind of case the state is going to put on. And from the public's perspective, paying attention this early on and seeing what we can expect in the future is something incredible.
And Mark, what's the pro and con for having it publicized, having people being able to see inside the courtroom or not?
Well, I mean, the whole idea behind one of these cases or any criminal trial is that it's open to the public, right? So that the public gets to see that it's fair and it's appropriate. If I'm the defense attorney, I don't want prospective jurors hearing all of this evidence and then being part of the jury pool. Because in my mind, I'm going to say, well, they're going to come in, they're going to have already heard potentially some of or all of the evidence, and now they're going to presume that he's guilty. He's presumed innocent, and I need jurors coming in with that in mind when they walk into the courtroom and are potential jurors. Well, if they get to hear the evidence beforehand, maybe they can't be fair and impartial, and maybe we can't get a jury in this county to hear this case.
Yeah, finally, Reagan, I mean, do you see the death penalty being on the table here?
I do. And, just based upon the evidence that we know exists at this stage, I don't believe that the aggravated murder charge that could ultimately support the death penalty is going to come off the table. Now, we will certainly see by the end of this week, once the judge hears all of the evidence, if the state has put forth enough evidence to move forward on these charges. But I do expect that these charges will be bound for trial.
All right. Mark Astor, Reagan Charleston Thomas, thank you very much.